S is P5. South Africa is 9. Best lap is a 1:24.532. In the SEs is 9. Is P1. Is 12. The qualification session is at 2018, layout in Road Atlanta, USA. The wind speed is 11 km/h from the north-northeast. Gerhard Niemand is first. The qualifying session is now in overtime. Gerhard Niemand is up 0.08 in T3. Gerhard Niemand is up 0.29 in T6. Gerhard Niemand is up 0.40 in T9. The race session is at 2018, layout in Road Atlanta, USA. The wind speed is 9 km/h from the northeast. James Haskell entering the pits is P13. 55 minutes remaining in the session. Race start. Peter Gelden, who is from South Africa, is third. Gerhard Niemand from South Africa in T1 is fifth. James Haskell exiting pits on softs. Ernest Heather from South Africa in T4 is P6. Tommy Glad from South Africa is 7th. Janine Glad from South Africa is 8th. Ernest Heather in T7 is 6th. Tommy Glad is 7th. James Haskell in T9 is 10th. James Haskell lost 10th to Peter Grobler. Tommy Glad is P7, 0.3 ahead of Janine Glad. Leon van Linden from South Africa in T10B is P10, 0.1 behind Peter Grobler. Leon van Linden passed Peter Grobler for 9th. Peter Grobler from South Africa in T12 is P10, 0.3 ahead of James Haskell. Peter Grobler is now P8. Peter Grobler passed Tommy Glad for P6. Tommy Glad is P8, 0.1 behind Ernest Heather. James Haskell in the Essies on lap 2 is 10, 0.2 behind Leon van Linden. Johan Niemand from South Africa is P11, 0.3 behind James Haskell. James Haskell is P10, 0.3 behind Leon van Linden. Leon van Linden is 10th. Brendan Gryasel entering the pits is 6th. Leon van Linden is now P9. Brendan Gryasel is P7. Brendan Gryasel exiting pits. Janine Glad entering the pits is 11. James Haskell entering the pits is P12. Mike McGear is second. Peter Grobler in T6 is fifth, 0.5 behind Gerhard Niemand. James Haskell exiting pits. "50 minutes remaining in the session. Janine Glad exiting pits. Mike McGear is P2. Brendan Gryasel from South Africa in T10B is 10, 0.9 behind Leon van Linden. Leon van Linden in T1 is P10 battling Brendan Gryasel. Leon van Linden was 4.9 faster last lap. Ernest Heather in the SEs is P8, 0.5 behind Yuan Niemand. James Haskell entering the pits is 11th. James Haskell exiting pits. Peter Grobler is P5, 0.6 behind Gerhard Niemand. Brendan Gryasel in T10B is P9, 0.4 behind Ernest Heather. Peter Grobler in T4 is P5, 0.2 behind Gerhard Niemand. Brendan Gryasel in T4 is 9th, 0.4 behind Ernest Heather. Brendan Gryasel was 1.4 faster last lap. Yuan Niemand in T6 is P7, 0.5 behind Tommy Glad. Brendan Gryasel in T8 is P9, 0.3 behind Ernest Heather. Brendan Gryasel passed Ernest Heather break. Ernest Heather in T10B is 9th, 0.3 behind Brendan Gryasel. Yuan Niemand in T1 is P7, 0.3 behind Tommy Glad. Brendan Gryasel in T4 is P8, 0.3 behind Yuan Niemand. Brendan Gryasel was 1.0 faster last lap. Ernest Heather from South Africa is P9, 0.4 behind Brendan Gryasel. Peter Grobler in T9 on lap 6 is 5th, 0.3 behind Gerhard Niemand. Brendan Gryasel in T9 is P8, 0.2 behind Tommy Glad. Mike McGear entering the pits is P2. Peter Grobler in T1 is 4th, 0.4 behind Gerhard Niemand. 45 minutes remaining in the session. Ernest Heather in T1 is P7, 0.5 behind Tommy Glad. Ernest Heather was 1.5 faster last lap. Mike McGear exiting pits. Brendan Gryasel in the SEs on lap 7 is 8th, 0.3 behind Ernest Heather. Peter Grobler is 4th, 0.5 behind Gerhard Niemand. Brendan Gryasel in T8 is 8th, 0.2 behind Ernest Heather. Brendan Gryasel passed Ernest Heather for P7. Ernest Heather in T10A is 8th, 0.3 behind Brendan Gryasel. Ernest Heather was 1.0 faster last lap. Peter Grobler in T4 is 4th. Best lap is a 1:23.227. 0.762 off the fastest lap. Brendan Gryasel in T3 is 7th, 0.2 behind Tommy Glad. Ernest Heather is 8th, 0.4 behind Brendan Gryasel. Mike McGear from South Africa is P10, 0.4 behind Leon van Linden. Leon van Linden was 34.2 faster last lap. Leon van Linden on lap 8 is P10, 0.4 behind Mike McGear. Gerhard Niemand is P4. Best lap is a 1:23.285. 0.944 off the fastest lap. Tommy Glad is P8, 0.4 behind Ernest Heather. Gerhard Niemand in T6 on lap 9 is 4th, 0.2 behind Peter Grobler. Brendan Gryasel is P6, 0.5 behind Johan Niemand. Gerhard Niemand in T10B is 4th, 0.3 behind Peter Grobler. Brendan Gryasel is P6, 0.2 behind Johan Niemand. James Haskell in T9 is P11. Brendan Gryasel on lap 10 is 6th, 0.5 behind Yuan Niemand. Minutes remaining in the session. Yuan Niemand is P5, 0.6 ahead of Brendan Gryasel. Brendan Gryasel on lap 11 is P6, 0.8 behind Yuan Niemand. James Haskell on lap 10 is 11th. Brendan Gryasel in T7 is 6th, 0.5 behind Yuan Niemand. Yuan Niemand was 0.6 faster last lap. Yuan Niemand in T9 is 6th. Janine Glad in T4 is 12th. Yuan Niemand in T6 is P6, 1.3 behind Brendan Gryasel. Leon van Linden is P10. Ernest Heather is P7, 2.3 behind Yuan Niemand. Leon van Linden entering the pits is P10. Mike McGeer from South Africa is P9, 1.3 behind Tommy Glad. Ernest Heather in T10B is 7, 0.8 behind Yuan Niemand. Leon van Linden exiting pits. Mike McPheer in T11 is 9th, 0.4 behind Tommy Glad. 35 minutes remaining in the session. Tommy Glad is 9th battling Mike McPheer. Ernest Heather in T7 is P7, 1.2 behind Yuan Niemand. Peter Geldenhuis is 2nd, 4.5 ahead of Peter Grobler. Ernest Heather in the SEs is 7th, 1.2 behind Yuan Niemand. James Haskell in T4 is P10. Ernest Heather in T12 is 7th, 1.2 behind Yuan Niemand. Leon van Linden in the SEs on lap 15 is P12. Ernest Heather on lap 16 is P7, 1.5 behind Yuan Niemand. Gerhard Niemand in the SEs is P4. Best lap is a 1:23.229. 1.221 off the fastest lap. Mike McGear is 8th, 1.1 behind Ernest Heather. Minutes remaining in the session. Peter Grobler entering the pits is P3. Peter Grobler is 3rd. Danny van Rooyen from Netherlands is 1st. Mike McGear is 8th, 0.2 behind Ernest Heather. Mike McGear is now P7. Peter Grobler exiting pits. Ernest Heather is P6, 0.3 ahead of Mike McGear. Danny van Rooyen entering the pits is 1st. Mike McGear in T7 is 7th, 0.3 behind Ernest Heather. Mike McGear passed Ernest Heather for 6th. Ernest Heather is 7th, 0.2 behind Mike McGear. Danny van Rooyen exiting pits. Mike McGear is P6, 1.1 ahead of Ernest Heather. James Haskell is 10th, 0.7 behind Tommy Glad. Mike McGear in T10B on lap 19 is 6th, 0.5 behind Yuan Niemand. James Haskell is 10th, 0.1 behind Tommy Glad. James Haskell was 2.8 faster last lap. Janine Glad entering the pits is 11th. Mike McGear in T3 is 6th, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. Tommy Glad from South Africa is 10th, 0.3 behind James Haskell. Mike McGear in T7 is P6, 0.4 behind Yuan Niemand. Mike McGear passed Yuan Niemand for P5. Yuan Niemand in T9 is 6th. Best lap is a 1:23.896. 1.888 off the fastest lap. Janine Glad exiting pits. Gerhard Niemand entering the pits is P3. Gerhard Niemand is P3. Brendan Gryasel in T4 is second. Best lap is a 1:22.418. 0.410 off the fastest lap. 25 minutes remaining in the session. Gerhard Niemand exiting pits. Ernest Heather is P6, 0.9 behind Yuan Niemand. Peter Geldenhuis entering the pits is P1. Peter Geldenhuis is first. Ernest Heather in T8 is P5, 3.4 ahead of Peter Grobler. Brendan Gryasel entering the pits is second. Brendan Gryasel is P2. Tommy Glad in T7 is P10, 4.9 behind James Haskell. Peter Geldenhuis exiting pits. Peter Geldenhuis in T2 is P3, 0.2 behind Mike McGeer. Yuan Niemand entering the pits is 7th. Brendan Gryasel exiting pits. Yuan Niemand is P8. Peter Geldenhuis in T6 is 3rd, 1.3 behind Mike McGeer. Tommy Glad entering the pits is P10. Leon van Linden entering the pits is 11th. Tommy Glad is P9. Mike McGeer in T9 on lap 22 is P2, 1.5 ahead of Peter Geldenhuis. Leon van Linden exiting pits. Yuan Niemand exiting pits. Tommy Glad exiting pits. Peter Grobler in T12 is 5th, 0.9 behind Ernest Heather. Ernest Heather entering the pits is 5th. Peter Grobler passed Ernest Heather for 4th. Ernest Heather on lap 23 is P6, 1.1 behind Brendan Gryasel. Peter Geldenhuis on lap 23 is 3rd, 1.8 behind Mike McGeer. Ernest Heather exiting pits. Mike McGeer is P2, 1.6 ahead of Peter Geldenhuis. Leon van Linden in the Essies is P11. Gerhard Niemand in T2 is 6th, 4.0 ahead of James Haskell. "20 minutes remaining in the session. Peter Grobler is P4. Peter Geldenhuis in T4 is P3, 1.7 behind Mike McGeer. James Haskell is P7. Best lap is a 1:22.554. 0.546 off the fastest lap. Peter Geldenhuis in T11 on lap 25 is third, 1.3 behind Mike McGeer. Ernest Heather is 8th. James Haskell entering the pits is 7th. James Haskell is 7th. Peter Grobler in T8 is P4. James Haskell is P8, 1.5 ahead of Yuan Niemand. Yuan Niemand was 12.0 faster last lap. James Haskell exiting pits. James Haskell lost P8 to Yuan Niemand. Janine Glad is P11. Best lap is a 1:23.958. 1.950 off the fastest lap. James Haskell in T9 is 9, 0.7 behind Yuan Niemand. Yuan Niemand in T11 is P9, 0.4 behind James Haskell. Peter Geldenhuis on lap 28 is P3, 1.5 behind Mike McGear. 15 minutes remaining in the session. Mike McGear in T9 is P2, 1.8 ahead of Peter Geldenhuis. James Haskell is 8th, 5.0 ahead of Yuan Niemand. Peter Geldenhuis in T6 is P3, 1.5 behind Mike McGear. Yuan Niemand in T8 is P9. Janine Glad entering the pits is 12th. Janine Glad exiting pits. Tommy Glad is P10. Gerhard Niemand in T2 is P6. Leon van Linden entering the pits is P11. Brendan Griesel in T6 is P6, 1.6 behind Gerhard Niemand. Leon van Linden exiting pits. James Haskell in T2 on lap 30 is P8. Peter Geldenhuis in T8 is P3, 1.3 behind Mike McGear. Mike McGeer from South Africa in T12 is third. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Mike McGeer entering the pits is third. Tommy Glad in T10B is 10th. Mike McGeer exiting pits. Yuan Niemand in the SEs is 9th. From South Africa in T7 is 6th, 1.5 behind Gerhard Niemand. T10B is 10th. Griesel in T4 is P6. Tommy Glad in T7 is 10th. Brendan Griesel is 6th, 0.2 behind Gerhard Niemand. Peter Geldenhuis is P2. Brendan Griesel in T6 is P6, 0.5 behind Gerhard Niemand. Brendan Griesel was 1.0 faster last lap. Peter Grobler in T2 is third. Best lap is a 1:22.328. 0.320 off the fastest lap. Brendan Griesel is P6, 0.5 behind Gerhard Niemand. Leon van Linden entering the pits is P11. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Leon van Linden exiting pits. James Haskell in T8 is 8th. Brendan Gryasel in T9 is P6, 0.7 behind Gerhard Niemand. Peter Grobler is 3rd. Best lap is a 1:22.287. 0.279 off the fastest lap. Brendan Gryasel in T6 is P6, 1.1 behind Gerhard Niemand. Gerhard Niemand was 0.5 faster last lap. Peter Grobler in T12 on lap 36 is P3, 0.4 behind Peter Geldenhuis. Brendan Gryasel is P6, 0.7 behind Gerhard Niemand. Peter Grobler in T6 is 3rd, 0.9 behind Peter Geldenhuis. Leon van Linden in T1 is P11. Peter Grobler in T4 is P3. Brendan Gryasel entering the pits is P8. Johan Niemand entering the pits is P9. Johan Niemand is P9. Brendan Gryasel exiting pits. Tommy Glad is 9th. Best lap is a 1:24.878. 2.870 off the fastest lap. Johan Niemand exiting pits. Tommy Glad passed Brendan Gryasel for P8. Brendan Gryasel is 9th, 0.5 behind Tommy Glad. Peter Grobler in T3 on lap 39 is P3, 3.5 behind Peter Geldenhuis. Peter Geldenhuis was 1.9 faster last lap. Brandon Gryasel in T10B is 9th, 0.4 behind Tommy Glad. Mike McGear in T7 is 4th. Brandon Gryasel is P9, 0.2 behind Tommy Glad. Peter Grobler entering the pits is 3rd. Peter Grobler is 3rd. Peter Geldenhuis is P2. Peter Grobler exiting pits. Danny Van Ruyen on lap 40 is 1st. Ernest Heather entering the pits is P10. The leader has just finished the race. Danny Van Ruyen finished 1st. Leon van Linden finished 11th. Peter Geldenhuis finished 2nd. James Haskell finished P6. Mike McGear finished P3. Peter Grobler finished P4. Gerhard Niemann finished P5. Brandon Gryasel finished P7. Tommy Glad finished 8th. Yuan Niemann finished 9th. Ernest Heather is 10th. Ernest Heather finished P10.